Kali ini saya sudah bersama dengan Vice President dari Google News, ada Mr. Richard Gingress. Thank you for your time, sir. It's been a big concern actually in Indonesia for fake news and hoax. How does actually Google deal with that?
Well, it's an interesting challenge, and first of all, I think as many of us know, like, what is fake news? Okay. You know, clearly there is information out there that people purvey that is absolutely false, but there are gray areas. You know, there was an interesting study in the United States that came out of MIT and Harvard that looked at the impact of media on the U.S. election. And they studied media over the course of the year before the election. What kind of content, what kind of sites. And their own conclusion was that fake news wasn't a significant impact on the U.S. election. What was hyper-partisan sites. Sites that play close to the truth, but in a sense misrepresent it for fact and context. I think that's the real challenge. Now, of course, again, I don't suggest that to say that fake news isn't a problem. It is, and we treat it very, very seriously. We didn't have many incidents of fake news on Google Search, or in Google News for that matter, but it just takes one, obviously, to challenge the trust that users have in us. And that's what drives us, right, is the trust of our users. So we've taken significant efforts to continue to improve our own defenses against misrepresentative content. This, by the way, has been true for the history of the internet and long before. You know, so it's not a new challenge to us, it's just that the techniques changed. You know, as I say, it's an arms race between the good guys and the bad guys. We develop algorithmic defenses to find the bad content. They figure out ways to trick us, and it goes on and on and on. But we've made improvements to our algorithms. We've changed some of our underlying policies. We've made it easier for users to provide feedback to us when they do see content that's offensive. And then we take and incorporate that back into our solutions.
So is there any way to avoid those fake news? I mean, like, to prevent them to appear, at least on the Google search?
Well, again, it's our job to make sure that they don't rank highly in Google search. Of course, these sites exist on the internet, right? We don't control the internet, nor would any of us want to. It doesn't mean it's impossible to find misrepresentative content, right? It all depends on what you search for, right? If you're searching for a general subject, we'll make sure to surface quality information. But if you're searching for a conspiracy theory that there are aliens, you know, on Earth, then you will find sites out there that provide you a heap of information telling you that indeed there are aliens from Mars living on Earth, right? There is that material out there. We take various steps to address that too. One thing we began surfacing last fall was third-party fact checks about spurious claims that people might make on the internet. And that's, I think, been very effective. There's a growing community of fact checkers out there. And I think that's important, where we work with the industry collaboratively to find solutions to these problems. Right? No one wants Google to be the ultimate determinator of what is truth and what is not. So it's important to us to find other means, working with the news industry, working with the journalism community, to provide additional content to help users, again, reach their own conclusions about any particular given subject or issue that they're looking into.
Okay. How do you try to educate your readers, actually? So, okay, guys, we have this way to avoid those kind of fake or something. How do you educate them?
Well, you know, as many people suggest, we need more media literacy training, and I think that's important. Right? Are we teaching people in schools, particularly today in this complex information environment, how do they understand one source versus another? Right? Media literacy basically is, how do I understand the expertise behind the source? How do I understand their motivation? Right? But we have to go beyond training. You know, I've been seeing news organizations begin to improve how they label the content that they present. Now, here's our fact-based reporting. Here's an opinion piece. Here's an analysis piece. How do people, because obviously an opinion piece comes to it with a motivation, right? Whereas the fact-based reporting, we think is, well, they're looking to provide just the facts. So I think news organizations are beginning to think how they take and help users understand what they do, and that will also help us present information as well, so that we can give users that, in a sense, 360-degree perspective on an issue. Here's the latest news. Here are some opinion pieces from different perspectives. Here's a backgrounder explaining, for instance, what's Brexit. You know? Here's the latest news about Brexit. Well, what is it actually as an issue? I think that's the objective we have, is how do we, again, leveraging the work of the journalism community around the world, making sure that we're surfacing quality sources, and then giving our users the information they need to form their own opinions, hopefully in an informed way.
Okay. Mr. Richard, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Ya, pemirsa Prime Time News masih akan segera kembali dengan informasi sejumlah